This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. Good morning, I'm John Trout. It's Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. Here's what's coming up on America in the Morning.
President Trump's latest cabinet meeting features the fog of war, complaints about immigrants from Somalia, and accusations affordability is a Democratic scam. I'm John Stolnis in Washington.
There was no upset in Tennessee's special House race, but the Democrat is still encouraged.
We've narrowed the margin, and for me, that is a celebration.
I'm Rich Johnson.
The man accused of shooting 2 National Guard troops near the White House has pleaded not guilty. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
More information revealed about a potential terror attack thwarted in Texas. I'm Clayton Neville.
On Wall Street, stocks were higher, and so was Bitcoin, which eased worries for crypto investors yesterday. I'm Jessica Ettinger.
There have been 17 mass killings this year in the United States, the lowest since 2006. I'm Mike Hempen.
All ahead on America in the Morning. President Trump welcomed his cabinet members to the White House for a more than 90-minute meeting in which reporters pressed for answers on Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's military strikes on suspected Venezuelan gunships and claims that inflation is not preventing Americans from enjoying a good economy. John Stolnis has a recap from Washington.
With bipartisan lawmakers promising a thorough investigation into a Washington Post report that said Hegseth personally authorized the military to attack survivors of a suspected drug trafficking ship out of Venezuela that had already been hit once. Hegseth himself denied watching the incident as it happened or telling military commanders to, quote, kill them all.
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire or smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war.
The president says other countries besides Venezuela could meet a similar fate because of the illegal drugs they're pumping into America.
Anybody that's doing that and selling it into our country is subject to attack.
So not necessarily just Venezuela.
No, not just Venezuela.
And the president said they may expand their military operations onto land as well.
We're going to start doing those strikes on land, too. You know, the land is much easier.
At multiple points during the meeting, the president appeared to either be resting his eyes or nodding off, sometimes for upwards of 20 to 30 seconds at a time. Trump also believes Democrats are wrongly trying to convince Americans that things are too expensive when the price of gas and some groceries are coming down.
The word affordability is a con job by the Democrats. They say affordable. I watched the other day where some very low IQ congresswoman talked about affordability. She had no idea. Their prices were much higher. The word affordability is a Democrat scam.
The president said tariffs on imports are generating billions of dollars for the U.S. Trump also said he did not want immigrants from Somalia to be allowed into the country, saying they don't try to assimilate into American culture and soak up government resources.
I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. And they complain and do nothing but bitch. We don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
The president is using the shooting of 2 National Guard members last week, one of whom died by an Afghan immigrant, to halt all asylum decisions, specifically mentioning Somalis as part of that conversation yesterday. John Stolnis, Washington.
The upset the Democrats were hoping for was not to be in Tennessee, but the single-digit margin of victory on Tuesday may encourage Democrats and worry Republicans in a solidly red district. President Trump won last year by 22 points. Details from correspondent Rich Johnson.
In a district that Donald Trump won by 22% last year, Republican Matt Van Epps has beaten Democrat Afton Bain. Democrats poured star power and money into the race, especially after Democratic wins in New Jersey and Virginia last month. The attention also encouraged a higher than usual turnout, as evidenced by these voters.
I probably wouldn't have voted if it wasn't for all the calls and texts I got from her campaign, but that really kind of pushed me to vote against her. I kind of started seeing more comments and things like that I didn't really agree with.
Typically in Nashville, we don't have a chance to win many Democratic elections, so I felt the need to come and vote today.
Those comments courtesy of CNN, which spoke to Bain before the race was called.
We've run an amazing race. All things considered, the deck was stacked against us, especially in the deep red South. And we've narrowed the margin. And for me, that is a celebration worth having.
And given Bain's strong performance, Republican strategist Chris Walker won't be surprised if she tries again next year.
If I'm her team, I'm certainly encouraging her to claim a moral victory and quickly turn around and raise money just like Matt will. And maybe we'll see this again here shortly.
Walker's comment courtesy of WKRN in Nashville. The election was to fill the 7th district seat vacated by Republican Mark Green, who resigned to pursue private business. Van Epp's victory leaves the House where it was before Green left, in GOP control, 220 to 214. I'm Rich Johnson.
When we return on America in the Morning, person charged in the shooting of 2 National Guard officers faces a judge after these messages. America in the Morning continues this Wednesday with a check of a very chilly national forecast. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
The strongest Arctic cold front of the season makes its way from the upper Midwest and plains through the Great Lakes as today progresses, mainly moving more to the east and the south on average. This will focus the chance for snow related to this storm on an area from lower Michigan to parts of northern Illinois, but there can be snow showers or at least some flurries in the air from the central upper peninsula of Michigan, south and west to central Iowa. However, the more substantial effect from this storm may very well be the biting cold that follows it later tonight in places from northwestern Wisconsin, south and west into northern Iowa, northward through all of Minnesota except the Arrowhead, and westward to northeastern South Dakota and eastern, perhaps even central North Dakota, are expected to end up with temperatures 10 to 20 degrees below zero by Thursday morning, with some spots even turning a bit colder. The southwesternmost portion of that same cold front generally falls apart as it approaches the Colorado Rockies into tonight, but it comes close enough to interact with some energy pushing through the southwest to produce accumulating snow across much of Colorado through the night. The highest snowfall accumulations of 6 to 12 inches are expected for some of the high ground of southwestern Colorado and also just west of I-25, with Denver and Colorado Springs both likely to end up with 3 to 6 inches of snow from the storm through tonight. Many other parts of the nation look to be relatively dry today. However, some showers do make their way onshore around coastal Texas by late in the day, and there may even be a couple of showers near the Washington coast early in the day as well. In Vail, Colorado, clouds yield a coating to an inch of afternoon snow today, with a high getting up to 31 later on. For Memphis, it's looking less cold today instead, under sunshine, with a high reaching 44 later. That's the nation's weather. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
Remember, you can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. The Afghan national accused of opening fire on 2 West Virginia National Guard soldiers on a busy street 500 yards from the White House faced a judge Tuesday from his hospital bed. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
The man accused of shooting 2 National Guard troops near the White House has pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder and assault charges. Ramanullah Lakanwal, who was shot during the confrontation, made his initial court appearance by video from a hospital bed for charges stemming from the November 26th shooting that killed 20-year-old specialist Sarah Beckstrom and wounded 24-year-old Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf. Prosecutors say it appears that Lakanwal traversed the city to some extent before approaching the troops and shooting them. The judge ordered Lakanwal detained, citing the sheer terror that resulted from his actions. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
In another terror plot, we're learning more about the incident thwarted in Texas that landed an Afghan national behind bars. Correspondent Clayton Neville has the latest.
30-year-old Mohammed Dawood Al-Qazay is a citizen of Afghanistan living in Fort Worth. He left that country during the deadly U.S. withdrawal. A statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office blames the Biden administration for allowing Al-Qazay into the United States. This week, he was officially charged with making threats in a November 23rd video call, which was recorded and posted to TikTok, X, and Facebook.
I expect to get some information from the district attorney's office as the discovery as the case moves forward.
Court-appointed attorney for Alakazay, Lee Davis, spoke with Fox 4 News in Dallas. According to the federal complaint, the video shows Alakazay angrily gesturing while interacting with at least 2 other men. As alleged, investigators say Alakazay threatened to conduct a suicide attack. He claimed he would build a bomb in his car and talked about a particular yellow cooking oil container favored by the Taliban in building IEDs. His arrest came a day before the deadly attack on National Guard members in Washington, D.C., allegedly carried out by an Afghan national. I'm Clayton Neville.
When we return on America in the Morning, despite rents being down, apartment vacancies are up. More when we continue after these messages. This is America in the Morning. The Business Report is sponsored by Gusto. Gusto is a simple online payroll and benefits tool built for small businesses. Learn more at gusto.com/radio. Here's CNBC's Jessica Ettinger with the Wednesday Report.
Wall Street opens this morning after Bitcoin bounced back above 90,000. That helped stocks bounce up, easing worries. The Dow was up 180 points.
We've seen the AI trade cool off really over the last month. I think the kind of peak there a month ago was, OpenAI's various spending commitment announcements. But I think underlying demand remains exceptionally strong.
Argent Capital's Jed Ellerbrook on CNBC. Apartment rents keep dropping and vacancies nationally are at a record high.
Continued new supply and weaker demand are pushing vacancies up and rents down. The national median monthly rent for apartments fell 1% in November from October and now stands at $1,367. That's according to Apartment List. It was the 4th consecutive month-over-month decline. Now, vacancies hit a record high of 7.2% in October. It comes after a really historic surge in apartment construction brought on big by the pandemic.
CNBC's Diana Olick. Costco is suing the Trump administration. Costco wants tariff refunds for the price the chain has paid to bring goods in from other countries since President Trump imposed tariffs last April. The Supreme Court will decide whether the Trump tariffs are illegal.
If these tariffs are ruled illegal by the court, they're going to want to be first in line for any refunds.
This is picking a fight with the President of the United States. They issued a statement on DEI that I thought was amazing, which is we're going to keep DEI. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're the most popular retailer in the world.
Sure.
So maybe there's something good about it. Look, I think Costco is a great American institution, and they've kept prices lower than everybody in the world. They've had to eat a lot of tariff, and they did so to help the American people.
CNBC Mad Money host Jim Cramer with Carl Quintanilla. $250 in a Trump account for every U.S. child, all 25 million of them from Dell Computers founder Michael Dell. It's a more than $6 billion donation for a savings and investment account that can grow over time. Altimeter's Brad Gerstner tells CNBC about the donation and his work with Invest America.
I mean, this is one of the largest gifts in the history of the country. I think largest to children. Right, largest to children. And by the way, Joe, it's not going to a charity that will then distribute some of the money to children. 100% of this is going directly into the private accounts of these children. Would have been impossible but for the passage of the Invest America Act.
Gerstner with CNBC's Joe Kernan. On today's watch list, we get earnings from a couple of big retailers, including Macy's. The Powerball jackpot tonight, $775 million, the 8th largest in the history of the game.
CNBC's Jessica Ettinger, thank you. Vladimir Putin's blame game. When America in the Morning continues after these messages. Vladimir Putin is accusing European nations of sabotaging efforts to end the war in Ukraine. This amid the 5-hour meeting held between Kremlin and U.S. officials, which were called constructive. Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
Vladimir Putin is accusing Ukraine's European allies of sabotaging peace efforts. Putin says they don't have a peace agenda and instead are on the side of war. It appears to be his latest attempt to sow discord between President Trump and Kyiv's European backers, and also insulate Moscow from blame for any lack of progress. His remarks came minutes before meeting with Trump envoys in the Kremlin. Meanwhile, in Ireland, Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky said he was looking for signals that peace talks could move forward, and if they showed fair play, he might meet soon with the Americans, and says he's ready to meet again with the president. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
Last week's California shooting, the 20th mass shooting in the U.S. this year, the lowest it's been in nearly 2 decades. Correspondent Mike Empen reports.
There have been 17 mass killings this year in the United States, the lowest since 2006. That's according to a database maintained by the Associated Press and USA Today in partnership with Northeastern University. But experts say this probably isn't the start of a trend. Instead, it's more likely a return to average after mass killings spiked in 2018 and 2019. Northeastern criminologist James Allen Fox calls it a regression to the mean. Fox, who manages the database, says mass killings are down about 24% this year compared to last year. Mass killings are incidents in which 4 or more people are killed. Experts say a decline in violent crime and an improvement in crime response may be contributing to the drop. I'm Mike Hempen.
America in the Morning for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One. This is America in the Morning from Westwood One. I'm John Trout. Coming up this half hour.
Bitter cold across much of the U.S. I'm Clayton Neville.
Minneapolis and their Somali population, one of the next targets for ICE enforcement. A recap of Pope Leo's historic trip to Lebanon. A former New Jersey governor fails in his bid to become mayor, and fallout over a student's essay at the University of Oklahoma.
Bitter cold across much of the U.S. I'm Clayton Neville.
The Supreme Court seems likely to side with a faith-based pregnancy center challenging an investigation into whether it misled people to discourage abortions. Kaya Panjwani, Washington.
Sean Diddy Combs hits back at Netflix for their new docuseries about him. I'm Kevin Carr.
Back after these messages. America in the Morning continues. The national forecast yesterday saw snow in the northeast, now in the west. Here's AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
A storm pivoting its way eastward through the Four Corners region will be the focus for organized snowfall in the Colorado Rockies, and it will join up with the tail end of a dying cold front that still will be able to provide enough energy to spark some accumulating snow in places like Denver that only picked up the first measurable snow of the season within the past few days. As that cold front pushes southward, this storm meeting up with it is expected to bring the most intense snowfall parallel to, but just a bit to the west of I-25 in Colorado, and staying north and west of I-25 into northern New Mexico through tonight. AccuWeather winter weather experts say that this most intense snowfall should be on the order of 6 to 12 inches of snow. That also reaches parts of southwestern Colorado, with 3 to 6 inches for downtown Denver, but just 1 to 3 inches to the north and east of the city itself, and for many places in Colorado just to the east of I-25. That's not the only precipitation around the nation today, though, as the remainder of that Arctic front dives into the center of the nation and across the Great Lakes states, carrying with it some of the coldest air of the season. Flurries and snow showers in association with this storm spread from central Iowa into much of the upper peninsula of Michigan, with occasional steadier snow a bit more likely from the Chicago area through much of lower Michigan by late in the day today. This powerful front will be followed by bitterly cold air, with lows Thursday morning in the teens to 20s below zero from eastern North Dakota to northwestern Wisconsin and north central Iowa, in many places reaching levels that have not yet been seen this season. Elsewhere, high pressure settles in to dry out the northeast after its own winter storm on Tuesday. Showers build in from the Gulf toward parts of mainly southeast Texas. That's the weather across America. I'm AccuWeather.com meteorologist LaTroy Thornton.
You can follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Search America in the Morning in your favorite listening app. President Trump's Oval Office meeting on Tuesday focused on the situation surrounding suspected drug boats being struck by the U.S. military in Caribbean waters. And the president also alluded to likely U.S. military strikes on suspected land-based drug trafficking operations inside Venezuela sometime soon. The meeting also touched on topics including Somali migrants in Minnesota, where federal authorities are now planning ICE operations in Minneapolis. And the president took a hardline stance on Somalis in the United States. Lisa Dwyer reports his comments also took aim at a Somali member of Congress.
I can say it about other countries too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other.
As President Donald Trump blasts the Somali immigrant community, federal authorities are preparing an immigration enforcement operation in Minnesota, focusing on Somali immigrants living unlawfully in the United States. During a cabinet meeting, President Trump said that Somali immigrants are too reliant on the U.S. social safety net.
And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too.
Minnesota has the largest Somali community in the nation. Many fled the civil war in Somalia. The executive director of the Minnesota chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations says that around 95% of Somalis in Minnesota are U.S. citizens, and that about 50% of the community were born in the United States.
We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage.
I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Winter-like weather in the Midwest and the East has turned highways into dangerous sheets of ice, as some states also dealt with snow. And before the week is out, many will experience their first sub-zero temperatures of the season. Details from correspondent Clayton Neville.
In places like Bangor, Maine, several inches of snow and a need for shelter for some. Zach Spalding of the Brick Church spoke with WABI-TV.
We have plenty of food and plenty of warm blankets and plenty of spaces to curl up and relax and read a book, and we'll be open serving people. We open up our storehouse and shower ministry at 10 a.m. from 10 to 2, and then we'll just stay open the rest of the day through.
In places like Maine,
a general 5 to 10 inches of snow is forecast, with isolated amounts in excess of 12 inches possible. At times, snowfall rates can exceed 1 inch per hour, leading to reduced visibility. Although the heaviest snow should stay toward the interior of the I-95 corridor, travel will still be hazardous across much of the Northeast, so travelers should anticipate extensive disruptions.
Dr. Owen Shee with the National Weather Service says the threat moves south to the Appalachians.
Freezing rain accretion of 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch will create slippery and dangerous conditions on roadways, elevated surfaces, and sidewalks.
Weather experts believe we could see several dozen daily record lows across more than a dozen states Thursday into Friday mornings. Places like Cedar Rapids and Des Moines, Iowa. Also, parts of Wisconsin could break morning lows. A large swath of Midwest and Northern Plains will wake up Thursday morning below zero, experts believe. Some lows in parts of Iowa could be in the teens below zero by Friday. I'm Clayton Neville.
Pope Leo shared his thoughts on the conclave and his hope for peace in the Middle East and around the world as he wrapped up his first international trip as Pope. Correspondent Jennifer King reports.
Pope Leo XIV spoke with reporters on his way home from Beirut as he wrapped up an inaugural papal trip to Turkey and Lebanon.
I wanted to come as a pilgrim of hope to the Middle East, imploring God for the gift of peace for this beloved land, marked by instability, wars, and suffering.
He shared for the first time what he was thinking when the votes started going his way during the papal conclave.
I resigned myself to the fact when I saw how things were going that I said this could be a reality. I took a deep breath. I said, here we go, Lord. You're in charge, and you lead the way.
Leo fielded questions for half an hour, switching between English, Spanish, and Italian, and showed he's becoming more comfortable with the press. Amid tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela, he urged dialogue rather than military threats. Leo says the Holy See hopes to continue discussions with conflicting parties in Lebanon.
Yes, I believe sustainable peace is achievable. I think that when we talk about hope and we talk about peace and we look to the future, we do so because I believe it is possible that peace once again come to the region, come to your country, to Lebanon.
As for future travels, Leo says he'd like to make a second trip as Pope to Africa next year, particularly Algeria, the birthplace of St. Augustine.
Departing is often more difficult than arriving. We have spent time together, and in Lebanon, this spirit of encounter is contagious. Here I have found that people enjoy coming together rather than being isolated. While arriving in your country meant gently entering into your culture, leaving this land means carrying you in my heart. Thus, we are not leaving each other. Rather, having met, we will move forward together.
I'm Jennifer King.
When we return on America in the Morning, college professor suspended after scolding a student on gender issues. After these messages. A former New Jersey governor has lost his race to become mayor of Jersey City. Democrat James Solomon beat fellow Democrat Jim McGreevey to become the mayor of the Garden State's second largest city. McGreevey was governor of New Jersey for more than 2 years before famously resigning in November 2024 following a series of scandals. He publicly announced his homosexuality and stated in his nationally televised resignation speech that he was a gay American. He lost the race to Solomon by a landslide 2-1 vote margin. Shifting gears, details are being released that both USA Gymnastics and an Olympic sport watchdog failed to stop a coach's sexual abuse, according to lawsuits. Correspondent Gethin Coolbaugh reports.
Two gymnasts who say they were sexually abused at an elite academy in Iowa have filed lawsuits against the sports oversight bodies, alleging Sean Gardner preyed on girls despite repeated complaints about the coach's behavior. The lawsuits filed Monday allege USA Gymnastics and the U.S. Center for Safe Sport were told about inappropriate and abusive behaviors as early as December 2017 when Gardner was a coach in Mississippi. The suits allege the organizations failed to properly investigate, revoke Gardner's coaching credentials, report him to law enforcement, or take other actions to protect athletes. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
A University of Oklahoma student says she's the victim of religious discrimination after her psychology instructor gave her a 0 for an essay that cited the Bible and said that, quote, "The lie that there are multiple genders is demonic." The professor who flunked the student, a psychology major in her junior year, has been placed on administrative leave while the school investigates the situation. The story of the student's complaint over her grade was amplified by the university's chapter of Turning Point USA in a post last month on X. By Tuesday, that post had drawn 40 million viewers and thousands of online comments. Texas A&M University recently fired a faculty member who was accused of teaching a course that recognized more than 2 genders after a video of her discussing gender in class was posted online. America in the Morning continues. The U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments about a faith-based pregnancy center that appeared to raise First Amendment concerns. Correspondent Haya Panjwani reports.
The Supreme Court seems likely to side with a faith-based pregnancy center challenging an investigation into whether it misled people to discourage abortions. These facilities, often known as crisis pregnancy centers, have been on the rise in the U.S. The Supreme Court justices are considering whether a facility in New Jersey can sue the Democratic Attorney General in federal court over a subpoena for donor information. A majority of the justices seem to agree that they should be able to challenge the subpoena in federal court. A dubious Chief Justice John Roberts.
So you don't think it might have an effect on future potential donors to the organization to know that their name, phone number, address, etc., could be disclosed as a result of the subpoena?
The state argued that the information would only have been used to ask donors whether they had been deceived about the pregnancy center First Choice's services. Sandeep Iyer, an attorney for New Jersey, said that a ruling in favor of First Choice could allow a rush of lawsuits from any of the thousands of businesses that get similar subpoenas.
I think the risk would be that federal courts would potentially be inundated by these subpoena cases.
Haya Panjwani, Washington.
Netflix has quietly killed a popular feature. You will no longer be able to stream Netflix from your phone to any TV, with very few exceptions. Chuck Palm has that in today's Tech Report.
If you're trying to stream Netflix from your phone, Netflix has pulled the plug on casting from your phone to your TV. In fact, over the past couple of weeks, Netflix updated its app to gut the Google Cast support for pretty much everything modern. Netflix has been clamping down on password sharing, and this is the fallout. Only the more premium subscription services and much older TVs with dongles or streaming apps built in will still have the ability to accept Chromecast on Netflix. Road warriors at Airbnbs and other hotels will no longer be able to log into their phones and stream their favorite series to their hotel TV. Hat tip to the folks at AndroidAuthority.com, where they posted about Netflix quietly killing casting from phones while confirming with a Netflix rep that if the device has its own remote, you will no longer be able to cast it freely. For more, find me at thenewOldTechGuy.com. I'm Chuck Palm.
Midweek Sports is here with Robert Workman.
NBA Tuesday, the Thunder thumped the Warriors 124-112 for their 13th consecutive win and the 21st in 22 games for the defending champions. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 38 points. Timberwolves got 44 from Anthony Edwards as they chased down the Pelicans 149-142 in overtime. Celtics held off the Knicks 123-117. Jaylen Brown had 42, his best game of the season.
Obviously this year I have more responsibility. I'm in a new position and I'm still figuring it out, so I'll just take what the defense gives me.
76ers slammed the Wizards 121-102, 35 for Tyrese Maxey. Raptors edged the Blazers 121-118, and the Spurs took a tough one from the Grizzlies 126-119. College hoops number 1 Purdue rolled over Rutgers 81-65. ACC-SEC Challenge number 4 Duke just got by number 15 Florida 67-66. Cameron Boozer had a game-high 29 points. Syracuse upset number 13 Tennessee, and number 16 North Carolina came away with a 3-point win at number 18 Kentucky. The latest college football playoff poll, Ohio State and Indiana remain first and second, with Georgia up to third and Texas Tech fourth, heading into what could be a wild championship weekend. Hockey, Nathan McKinnon scored twice to lead the Avalanche to a 3-1 win over the Canucks. Colorado extends its point streak to 19 games in a row. McKinnon leads the league with 22 goals, 46 points, and a plus 32 rating. The second-place Stars lost to the Rangers 3-2 in overtime. Capitals clipped the Kings 3-1 for their 5th win in a row. Golden Knights snapped a 4-game slide with a 4-3 shootout victory over the Blackhawks. Red Wings had also dropped 4 in a row before shading the Bruins 5-4. Islanders deflected the Lightning 2-1. That ends Tampa Bay's 7-game win streak. The Wild whitewashed the Oilers 1-0. Jesper Wallstedt with 33 saves for his 4th shutout in just 10 games. Wins for the Senators, Maple Leafs, and Predators. That's Wednesday Sports.
Thank you, sir. It's 7 till. When we return on America in the Morning, new troubles for disgraced music mogul Sean Diddy Combs after these messages. This is America in the Morning. A new docu-series on Netflix has put Sean Diddy Combs in the crosshairs of another rapper, and Diddy is pushing back. Details from entertainment reporter Kevin Carr.
Disgraced music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is not happy about a new Netflix docuseries.
We have to find somebody that'll work with us that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business. We're losing.
The teaser for Sean Combs' The Reckoning includes this clip of Combs talking to his lawyers about his criminal charges. On Monday, Combs' lawyers sent a cease and desist letter to Netflix claiming the footage was obtained illegally. This isn't the first time Combs has gone after a studio. In February, he sued NBC Universal for $100 million over Peacock's Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy.
How did this superstar music mogul become an alleged monster?
On Monday, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson spoke to Good Morning America about why he made the Netflix docuseries.
Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as hip-hop is fine with his behaviors.
Jackson says he included these moments to demonstrate the type of person Combs is.
It should show you his character.
Combs disagrees with his lawyers calling it a hit piece. Director Alexander Stapleton explained the purpose of the docuseries to Good Morning America.
The show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details, that the real goal was to storytell.
Combs' lawyers have threatened further legal action against the streaming giant if it doesn't pull the series, which is currently available on Netflix. I'm Kevin Carr.
Nearly 203 million people either shopped in stores or online during the 5-day period from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday, according to the National Retail Federation. That's an all-time record, which included more people shopping either in store or online on Black Friday than they did on Cyber Monday. Correspondent Ben Thomas reports early numbers suggest a strong holiday for retailers.
Adobe Analytics reports as of 6:30 Eastern Time Monday evening, Americans had already spent $9.1 billion online. That was up 4.5% from last year's Cyber Monday, and that was with another 5.5 hours to go in the Eastern Time Zone alone. Online spending was expected to peak between 8 and 10 p.m. local time, wherever that may be. Electronics and apparel the top items. When the final tally's in, Adobe projects consumers will have spent between $13.9 and $14.2 billion for the day. Those numbers would make this Cyber Monday not only the biggest online shopping day of the year, but of all time. I'm Ben Thomas.
Statistics from Salesforce shows online shoppers spent nearly $79 billion on Black Friday and $53 billion on Cyber Monday. Both of those numbers up at least 6% from 2024. America in the Morning for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025 is produced by Jeff McKay. I'm John Trout. This is Westwood One.